Nobody tells you this part about ancient history. For most of human existence, babies crying at night was genuinely terrifying. Not annoying. Not I have work tomorrow, terrifying. Because today, your baby cries at 3 a.m. And the worst thing that happens is you become emotionally attached to coffee. But 20,000 years ago, a crying baby could get everybody killed. That sound traveled, and nature was listening. Wolves, hyenas, big cats, other humans. Everything in the darkness basically heard tiny screaming burrito located here. And suddenly parenting becomes less of a wholesome family experience and more of a stealth mission, which is probably why ancient humans became insanely good at calming babies down. Like, suspiciously good. Modern parents buy white noise machines for $80. Ancient moms literally invented human psychology by trial and error because failure meant becoming bear food. And the weirdest part? A lot of the things they discovered still work on babies today. Rocking, rhythm, singing, skin contact, low humming sounds. Humanity has basically been running the same baby software update for thousands of years. Because babies are weird little cavemen. Think about it. A newborn arrives into the world screaming like they just got drafted into war. They can't walk, can't talk, can't hold their own head up. Evolution really looked at human babies and said, good luck everybody, and human babies are especially useless compared to other animals. A baby deer comes out of the womb and immediately starts training for the Olympics. Human babies come out looking emotionally overwhelmed by ceiling fans. They're basically unfinished humans, which sounds like terrible design, and honestly, it kind of is. But there's a reason. Humans evolved gigantic brains. Unfortunately, giant heads are difficult to push through a human pelvis without turning childbirth into a fatal magic trick. So, evolution compromised. Instead of fully developing in the womb, human babies started arriving early, which means for the first year of life, they're basically external fetuses with opinions. Very loud opinions. And ancient humans had to somehow keep these screaming potato creatures alive in environments actively trying to kill them. No pressure. Now here's where things get fascinating. Anthropologists think ancient babies cried less than modern babies, which sounds impossible because babies today cry if the air molecules disrespect them slightly. But ancient parenting was different, like radically different. Modern parents put babies in separate rooms. Ancient humans almost never did that. The baby was constantly attached to somebody, usually the mother, sometimes literally attached. Carried all day, held all night. Constant skin contact. Basically treated like emotional support luggage. And there's a reason for that. Human babies are born neurologically unfinished. Their brains are basically running on factory settings. They physically expect contact, not emotionally. Biologically, to an ancient baby, separation didn't feel sad, it felt fatal. Because for most of human history, being alone as a baby actually was fatal. A baby alone in the wilderness survives for approximately 11 seconds. So their brains evolved panic systems. The crying wasn't manipulation, it was an emergency alarm. Tiny human smoke detector. And ancient parents understood this instinctively. Not through science, through exhaustion. Imagine living in a cave. No electricity, no doors, no safe nursery, no baby monitor. You are the baby monitor. And somewhere outside, nature is making sounds that would immediately make you reconsider existing. Then your baby starts screaming at 2 a.m. You are not saying, "Aw, somebody's fussy," you are saying, "Oh, fantastic. We're all dying tonight." So ancient humans got very, very good at preventing babies from reaching full meltdown mode. And one of their greatest inventions was rhythm. Seriously, rocking babies to sleep might be one of the oldest technologies in human history. Before wheels. Before writing. Before taxes. Human beings were out here aggressively swaying infants like, "Please stop alerting predators," and it worked because babies spent 9 months inside a moving human. Inside the womb, babies constantly hear motion, walking, breathing, heartbeat, blood flow. The womb is basically a biological washing machine. So when ancient mothers rocked babies, they were recreating the environment the baby's brain already understood. Which means every exhausted parent pacing around a room at 3 a.m. is unknowingly performing prehistoric software maintenance. Humanity never upgraded this feature because, frankly, it still works too well. And then there's humming. This part is incredible. Ancient humans probably discovered that low, repetitive sounds calm babies faster than talking, which is why humans across almost every culture independently invented lullabies, different languages, different continents. Same exhausted humming. That's insane. Entire civilizations separated by oceans all arrived at the same conclusion. Okay, apparently tiny humans shut down if you sing weirdly enough. And lullabies are honestly creepy when you think about them. A lot of ancient lullabies sound less like songs and more like sleep-deprived threats. Go to sleep, little baby. Or what? What happens if the baby refuses? Why does this song feel emotionally dangerous? Because exhausted humans have always been slightly unhinged, especially parents operating on 3 minutes of sleep and ancient survival anxiety. But singing worked because babies don't really understand words. They understand tone, rhythm, vibration, predictability. A calm voice tells the baby's nervous system, everything is okay. Nobody is currently being eaten, which was genuinely useful information back then. Now here's the really wild part. Ancient humans may have slept in groups partly because of babies. Think about it. If one exhausted mother had to stay awake every time a baby cried, she'd eventually collapse into another dimension. So humans evolved cooperative parenting. Grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, random tribe members, everybody helped. Because human babies require the maintenance level of a haunted appliance. This is why humans are one of the most socially dependent species on Earth. Raising children literally forced us to become cooperative. Your annoying cousin holding the baby at family gatherings? Ancient software. And babies themselves shaped human civilization in weird ways. For example, humans probably became quieter at night because of babies. Seriously, many hunter-gatherer groups historically avoided loud nighttime activity because darkness was dangerous. And babies were basically tiny biological car alarms. One crying fit could attract attention from predators or hostile groups. So nighttime became associated with quietness, safety, closeness, warmth, which may explain why humans still instinctively whisper at night, even when there are no saber-toothed cats outside your apartment. Although, there might be raccoons. And raccoons absolutely have criminal energy. Now let's talk about ancient baby sleep, because modern parenting advice is chaos. One expert says, let babies cry. Another says, never let babies cry. Meanwhile, ancient parents were probably just trying not to get mauled by wildlife. And interestingly, most ancient cultures practiced some form of co-sleeping, which modern sleep experts occasionally react to like you just announced plans to wrestle a crocodile. But from an evolutionary perspective, co-sleeping makes complete sense. Warmth, protection, easy feeding, immediate soothing, the baby stays calm, the mother sleeps more, everybody avoids dying. Efficient system. Human babies are also weirdly designed for this setup. They wake frequently, sleep lightly, need constant reassurance. Which sounds annoying until you realize deep sleep in the wilderness is how creatures become lunch. A baby that wakes easily is actually safer in dangerous environments. Evolution optimized babies for survival, not convenience. Important distinction. Nature does not care if you have work in the morning. Nature is basically, congratulations on reproducing. Anyway, here are your psychological challenges. And ancient parents faced another problem modern people rarely think about. Postpartum depression, stress, exhaustion, fear, malnutrition, constant danger. Ancient parenting was emotionally brutal. But this is another reason communal parenting mattered. Humans survived because mothers weren't supposed to do everything alone. That village idea people talk about? That wasn't inspirational Pinterest nonsense. It was survival infrastructure. One person cannot realistically raise a helpless, screaming mammal alone while also gathering food and avoiding death. Ancient humans understood this before psychology even existed, because reality kept punching them in the face until they learned cooperation. And honestly, modern parenting is still built on ancient instincts. Look at what humans naturally do with babies: rocking, swaddling, soft voices, holding, sleeping nearby, singing. Nobody has to teach this stuff. Humans just do it. Because these behaviors are ancient, older than cities, older than civilization, possibly older than fully modern humans themselves. That's incredible. Right now, somewhere on Earth, an exhausted parent is pacing around a dark room holding a crying baby. And without realizing it, they're performing a ritual that has existed for tens of thousands of years. Same motions, same sounds, same desperation, different furniture. And honestly, babies haven't changed much either. They still arrive screaming, still destroy sleep schedules, still panic when separated from caregivers. Tiny emotional cavemen. Which means despite all our technology, human babies still expect Stone Age parenting. Your newborn does not care about your productivity. Your newborn's brain is basically running ancient survival code. Warm human nearby equals safety. That's it. That's the operating system. And maybe that's why modern parenting feels so overwhelming sometimes. Because humans evolved for communal parenting in tribes, not isolated apartments with one exhausted adult Googling, "Why is my baby angry at 4 a.m.?" At some level, your brain still expects 15 relatives nearby helping out. Instead, you get sleep deprivation and an internet forum written by a woman named Becky who thinks celery water cures sadness. Evolution did not prepare us for mommy blogs. But through all of human history, through ice ages, predators, wars, disease, storms, famines, and unimaginable danger, parents still rocked babies to sleep. That's kind of beautiful. Exhausted humans sitting in darkness, humming softly, trying to convince tiny screaming people that the world is safe enough to sleep in. And somehow, generation after generation, it worked. Which means every human alive today exists because ancient parents successfully completed the hardest stealth mission in evolutionary history, getting a baby to shut up at night. Honestly, that might be humanity's greatest achievement.